another episode of the Voice of Manifestation, and today I got my bishop with me, Bishop of Emmanuel Faith Center, my childhood church that I grew up in. And today we're gonna talk about a book that he wrote. But you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna let him tell y'all about himself, tell him you know what I'm saying, tell him about Wayne Johnson first and how this stuff even came about, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna pass it over to you.
Yeah, my book, I always wanted to, be an author. I just felt like I had a book inside of me. And so God gave me the kind of idea that I could use my sermons to write my books.
Right.
And so I did, man. And so it was just a challenge because every time I would try to do it, man, people would take my money and I wouldn't get no results from it.
Right.
And so, but I never quit, man. It took me about 4 or 5 years. And all of a sudden, man, here the book comes. I get one sermon and so I get started, and wow, so here we are, understanding God's call. And so what I'm saying to you, if difficulty comes when you're trying to do something, that's not God saying no, but it's just a process of going through to get where you need to be in life.
Right. So like one of the points I see, like one of the main points I see is like focus. So like what's your big take like on focus? I feel like focus is the main part, you know what I'm saying? Like you really have to, you know what I'm saying, you really have to engage in what you're doing. You got to be focused on what it is, because I mean a lot of times a lot of stuff can like distract you or try to, you know what I'm saying, but you got to have a strong mind to, you know what I'm saying, stay focused and just know what's more important and what's your purpose, and then I feel like it'll be easier for you to, you know what I'm saying, to get to where you're trying to go.
Yeah, and so we could say prioritize your life, so
Yeah.
It's like your schedule, what's important, what's secondary, what's primary, and so when you put those things in order, if your list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, some of those things could be number 5, and whatever you focus on can be number 1. And so, like I'm talking about focus in page 65 in my book, in Proverbs 5 verses 1 and 2, and I kind of use those verses. And this one to say, he said, "My son, stay focused. Listen to the wisdom I have gained. Give attention to what I have learned about life, so you may be able to make sensible judgments and speak with knowledge." And so that scripture is very powerful. Sensible judgment and speak with knowledge.
Right.
Focus. And so whatever you focus on, that's what you become.
Yeah.
It's like, so wherever the mind goes, that's where the heart and the soul go. So attention and focus, they kind of like two peas in a pot. You can't have one without the other. So that's why I say, whatever man want to obtain in life. And I'm gonna say this: if you don't have the flavor for business or whatever you're trying to do, or doing what you want to do, where you may want to do it, but you don't have that passion and the desire to focus on that. So,
Right.
And so that's the thing you need to work on.
Okay.
Amen.
So like I feel like too, like the main thing is like you have to be able to get yourself together first before you can like understand your purpose. Cause like with me, it took me to go through a lot before I just found out what was my purpose and things like that. But in the time being, I hated it, but now I thank him. You know what I'm saying? I know you go through things like that for a reason, because at that point in time, like he got me by myself. Like
Right. Yeah.
he got me by myself, and it wasn't nobody but me and him. You know what I'm saying? And that's when he helped me to be able to, like, you know what I'm saying, defeat my inner self.
Right.
And so once he gave me that, I seen how powerful I was, like, as a person. Like whatever you think, really, you can have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, if you wake up, if you want to be positive, like, you can be positive. You know what I'm saying? If you,
Right.
it's just that simple. You know what I'm saying?
It's a
It was
choice.
all in the mind. Yeah.
It's a choice. But God, most time before you get to that point, God's already trying to push you in that place already, but we reject what he's trying to give to us.
Yeah.
So it's not that he didn't come to you way before then, before you went through all what you went through.
Yeah, you're right.
That's just the results of not following what he was trying to bring into your life. So we resist the leadership of God a lot of times, and therefore when you understand your call, understand what God is calling you to do, it forces you to release your life to God and let him do what he want to do in your life. Because he never comes to hurt me. He always comes to bless me.
Right.
And so if he says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will be added unto you.
Yeah.
And so he's got a plan for our life. And so plan and purpose and focus go together.
Yeah. So what you like? What's this main like the rubber band? Like what's their phase? Like
Yeah.
that's what I want to understand.
Right.
The rubber band.
The rubber band phase.
Yeah.
So the natural attributes of a rubber band is what? It comes in a normal size,
Right.
but it stretches, and then when you release it, it goes back to its original form.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to be flexible enough
Yeah.
to I call it, receive new information, new downloads.
Mm-hmm.
You see, if you're rigid, and you're rigid mean, and the rubber band's supposed to flex and relax. Flex and relax. And so you can fit it around different things because it's made to go to different sizes.
Right.
And so your life is made to go to the level that God had called you to go, but you got to be flexible. So you can't have old mindsets and continue to want to go to a new position in life, because those two don't work.
Yeah.
Because whatever you focus on, that's what you speak. Because the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth will speak. So it's like the rubber band. So if it stays retracted, it can wither and dry rot if you keep it in the same place.
Right.
But when you get a new rubber band, man, that thing will stretch way out here, And so that's what God is saying. He said, be flexible. Let me stretch you to the point that you are capable of being stretched.
Mm-hmm. But you have to let them.
Yeah, you got to give them permission to do that.
And one big thing I think is like getting out your comfort zone.
That's it. That's what.
But when you get out your comfort zone, that's when you find your true self. That's when you get out your comfort zone. Like you gotta do things that, you know what I'm saying, people may not thought you would be doing, but you love it at the same time. You love it, you know what I'm saying? That just be your purpose, but you're not gonna find that until you really wanna seek it. He gonna show it to you, but at the same time, you can reject it if you want to, but at the same time, you gonna know like, if I want this I can't reject it really, but you can. You got a choice to, but if you make that choice not to, and then if stuff start, you know why. You know what I'm saying?
Well, look at your situation, the way you talk about it. It was a great turning point came into your life where you almost left this earth.
Right.
Yeah. And so that got your attention like nothing else, especially when you saw how God had shielded you, and I was asking you about what had happened, and you said it was like slow motion, it felt like somebody was in the automobile with you. And so when you go back and you look at the car and you look at you and you look at what happened, and so it's like, man, it's a mind blower,
Yeah.
You knew within your knower that you shouldn't be here. Your life should have been lost up on the 65 that day.
Yeah.
But you knew God saved you.
And then, to be honest, that day right there,
It changed you.
It was one of my worst days I ever had. Like that day, like honestly, like it started with tears. You know what I'm saying? And it ended with a smile, because that day I was working all that day. When I woke up, it wasn't a good day for me. Like I was just. I was lost up here, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I felt like I went, you know what I'm saying? To be honest, when I was going, you know how you can just see stuff before you know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, if that do happen, I wouldn't kill. I mean, that was my mindset.
Well, because you get to the point where you lose the willingness to see who you really are.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you feel like, people don't love you, you're not appreciated, And so the enemy start talking to your mind on that level, And so he'll feed you that line, but that's not a true statement. So whatever you focus on, whatever he feeds you in your mind, that's what you focus on.
Right.
That's where your attitude and your feelings and your emotion, they drop down to that level.
Yeah.
And so you live out of that position. And so that's when God is saying, he said, why don't you let me really tell you how I feel about you, and that's not what you're thinking, and what he's placed in your mind. It's not truth. It's just a smoke screen. And so if you buy into it, you live out of that position. And so life becomes boring. You go, you're going through all these traumas and all this stuff, man, but you don't have to. And so that's why it's so important sometimes to reach out to people, somebody out of your circle. And you don't have to really tell them what you're going through, especially if somebody's ministering and, you know, like myself. And so God will give you what to say to that person, you know. And that's what the gifts of the Spirit does. That's what the life of the kingdom does.
Cause I told you that day when you sat there and you was
Oh,
talking
yeah, when I touched you, yeah, man, yeah.
And I still got that video on my phone, like.
Let him lift you. Let him bring you back to that place. You come. Oh, hallelujah. Yes. Hey! Woo! Hallelujah to Jesus. Hey! Glory be to God. You're a warrior, man. God told you for such a thing. I remember too, man. It was like the Holy Spirit, like, man.
It was like, I was like, man, how he knew what to say to me. Like, I really was going through it, and I know just like everybody else, you know what I'm saying? You don't be want to cry, you don't be like, nah, man, I can't do this. But I'm like, man, I couldn't do nothing but cracking. Like, that really was, you know what I'm saying, at a point in time. And then you was telling me, like, you strong, like, he got a purpose for you as a reason. And see, then, that was like last year, but you know what I'm saying? Now, I see, you know what I'm saying? Like, he made me stronger so I can be able to strengthen other people. You know what I'm saying? He got me together. He took me through it. So now I can help other people through it. I can talk to other people. I can inspire other people and different things like that.
Because see, I went through the same thing myself. You know, all leaders go through that. See? And so when God is grooming you, I call it putting you on the potter's wheel.
Right.
And so he's making you into the man that you already are. But sometimes you don't see it, see? And then later on, circumstance and situation, it breaks the mold and it makes you flexible enough so God can pull you out of you, see?
Yeah.
Oh, you know him.
Yeah.
So you're hidden, see? Because gold, anything that's gold, oil, diamonds, you got to dig deep in the earth to get it.
Right.
So here God got a call on your life, but the enemy don't want you to fulfill your call. He's fighting you on every hand, man. He's coming at you like a ton of bricks, man. And so he came at me the same way. But God knew on the inside at an appointed time that he would call me out of me, so I could see me in the light the way he sees me. And so when that day came, it was a fulfillment that God ordained before the foundation of the world. And then it just exploded, man. And I began to see myself, you know, as an author. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I told myself, on the Johnson side, man, I'm the first one that wrote a book.
You start seeing how far. He really started showing you your abilities, and you really start seeing who you really is as a person, how far you can go, how creative you can be. Like, I feel like I got plenty of different sides to me, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like everybody do. Because once you find yourself, you'll find out so much about yourself, you know what I'm saying, that you didn't even know. And you will know, like, I'm creative in my own way. I really do like this. I'm good at this, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody have a gift, you know what I'm saying?
And so when I did my first book signing at the First National Bank, and I was there, man, I didn't want to do it because I thought, well, nobody gonna come. It's just gonna be a big flop, you know. And I was talking to a person. I said, man, Miss Kathy opened the door for us to come with the book signing. And I said, I really don't want to do it because I just think it's gonna be a flop.
Right.
And I was talking to this guy. He said, no, man. He said, God didn't open that door for you. And I was like, wow, sure it is. I said, how is it that they called it and gave me an opportunity to do that? I said, it's an open door by God. And when I did, man, success, it turned out real well. And as I was sitting there signing those books and you know, people walking through, I felt pretty comfortable doing it. I said, this is my language. You know, I'm confident.
You feel it. You feel a little way before everything gets started. But once it gets started and you see how it's flowing, you knowing, like, this me.
Yeah,
this, you know
this,